So here we are. Welcome to a new episode of my podcast, Essens, en podd om det väsentliga, or what it is today, it's Essence, a podcast about what truly matters. Because my guest today is my dear friend, Nynne Bojsen, who is a Danish psychotherapist. And to make this conversation, this very important conversation, available to people both in Denmark and in Sweden, we will record this episode in English. And anyone, I think, who has or has had a child or a young person close to them who is struggling with mental health issues knows how incredibly painful that is. The helplessness of watching someone you love without being able to help them. And the struggle to find the right help is also real. And sadly, many people never find the help they need. And today's guest is Nynne Bojsen, a Danish psychotherapist. She is also an EMDR therapist, a family coach with over 15 years of experience supporting children, young people, and families through emotional challenges and trauma. And Nynne is known for her unique ability to combine the traditional psychotherapy with intuitive insights and spiritual awareness, creating fast and lasting results, even in very complex cases that have been resistant to other forms of therapy. And Nynne has a special gift for working with sensitive children and teens. And her sessions are deeply grounded, compassionate, and tailored to the individual's emotional and energetic needs. And in addition to her professional work, Nynne is also a mother of 3 boys, which brings heart and real life experience, real life perspective into everything she does. And she offers her sessions in both Danish and English, and both online and in person. And I met Nynne in 2021, I think it was. It was during,
2021,
yeah,
yes.
I think so. And it was in an online space because it was during the pandemic. And Nynne introduced herself in a Facebook group as a Danish witch. And I don't know what came over me, but I responded, nice to meet you. I am Anna, a Swedish witch. And we have been friends ever since. So welcome to my podcast.
Oh, thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna. I'm so glad to be here. And I'm so glad we met again because
Yes,
there's been some years where we have like worked in 2 different areas and now we met again. I'm so happy.
yes. And this really feels like I mean, we did. I think it was in 2021. We also did these live sessions on Facebook. Then we used, and we called them Friday celebrations. And today
Yeah.
is Friday, and here we are back online,
Yeah.
doing a live. Yeah, I think it's amazing
Do you
how the
remember,
not
Anna?
how
Sorry?
everything connects. Uh,
Yes. And I remember, and it's interesting, I remember each Friday we had a glass of something and we said cheers. I have a
yes.
glass of tea. Do you have anything?
I have water. I was thinking just before we should have had bubbles because we used to have bubbles to
It's
celebrate
also
each
nice with
Friday.
tea. So for
But
everyone watching
cheers
this
in water.
podcast, yes, cheers. It's ever.
But then we did it later in the afternoon, so I think that's why it was more
Also
appropriate with wine.
to have bubbles.
Yes. So now I have introduced you, and the topic for today is like when a child suffers. I know there are so many people who can relate to this. I myself have been in this situation, and I have so many friends. I have clients when you have a child or a young person close to you that is suffering from mental health issues, that is really, really painful. And I know that you, Nynne, you have like I call it a revolutionary. You have a completely different approach to this. So let's just dive in. How do you work? What is your method? What is it that you do when you work with these families or with these children with these issues or challenges?
A part of it is not revolutionary. It's very traditional.
Mm.
You know, I'm educated as a psychotherapist and a family coach, so I will put it this way, the foundation of my work is traditional. Understanding human suffering, understanding human interactions, and the EMDR therapist, which I also is a trauma, international recognized evidence-based trauma modality. So is a very powerful tool, not just to help people with releasing their traumas, but also to understand how does a trauma affect you. So
Mm.
that's the traditional part of it, like speaking therapy and also trauma therapy. But when you talk about the revolutionary method, and I saw when you wrote it, I was like, "Ooh, do I dare to speak about it?" Because it is something that I have been working with for a while, the last 7 years actually. But it's only now that I really dare to speak about it
Mm.
because it is different. You see, I'm also a medium, and a medium is a person who has the ability to see, feel, hear energy. And I think a lot of people has this ability to see, feel, and hear energy. But a medium also has the ability to translate it into words. So my mediumistic abilities, when I use these abilities in my trauma treatment or in my treatment with children, then I can feel, I can I can feel when their trauma occurred in their life, what it was about, and what the effect on them has, what kind of effect on the children that I work with it had had. And then also, and this is the hardest part to speak about, but well, it's perhaps new in Scandinavia to speak about it, but actually it's a very old knowledge that sometimes you can, if you have experienced a trauma, then it's almost like your energetic shield, your chi, your prana, your knowing of yourself can be disturbed. And when it's disturbed, earthbound spirits can enter. And what is an earthbound spirit? It's a spirit, it's a soul actually, who has left this world because they don't have physical form anymore, but they are not released. They haven't gone into the light yet. So they are floating around in a space where they feel stuck and lost. And then they can attach themselves to a person who is alive. And that can have severe effects. You can have mood swings, you can have unexplainable pain, you can become very tired. And what I see in my work, you can get anxiety, depression, OCD. So I think the revolutionary part of my work is to combine traditional psychotherapy with this modern understanding of dimensions, universe, spirits, energy, because I think that's why I dare to speak about it now, because I have clients where it's so needed. They, they, they couldn't be healed by going to the traditional therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists. We need a new language to understand the suffering for our children, and we need new methods to help them.
Mm.
Because nobody, you said it yourself, nobody can handle seeing your child suffering. It's the worst thing ever.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
Isn't it? You as a parent, you would like,
Yeah,
okay, give me the pain.
yeah, you do anything to help your
Yes,
child. And it's
yes,
so hard to find the right help, because I know I have children as well. I have 3 children, and some of them have, yeah, have been suffering from yeah, mental issues and pain. And it's so hard to find the right help. You get medication, that's basically what is available. Yeah, yeah, you
but
just take
it
away
just,
the,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
and they
You're
cannot
not,
really function as a full human being. You lower their,
yeah.
yeah, there is something you take away from their personality or their energy. And I absolutely don't say you shouldn't medicate, because sometimes it's absolutely necessary when the pain is too big, but it's not enough to really heal the issues behind the pain. But Nynne, when you talk about this, I think families, when they contact you, what kind of challenges do the children have? I mean, I don't think they come to you and say, "Oh, I think there is a spirit here somewhere."
Oh, no,
No.
no, they
So
don't.
what kind of issues do they experience, and why do they contact you?
Okay, I'll give you the most recent example, and it was from this morning. I have
Mm,
these 30 minutes free online calls where the person, either the child or this was the mother that I spoke with, so they can get to see me and get to feel if I'm the right person to help them. So this morning was a mother with a 14-year-old girl who, since she's going to start in 8th grade, and ever since 5th grade, her mood has just gone down like this. She has become more and more quiet, more and more closed into her room. She gets angry. She gets like, oh no, I don't want to do things. So,
mhm,
and she's now diagnosed with depression. And I think there was also some other, perhaps autism also, but definitely depression is the most significant characteristic. So that could be one child, and um, and having suicide thoughts, a lot of suicide thoughts every day, and even hurting herself, and yeah, just and the parents are powerless. They're trying everything. Couldn't you think about something positive today, or do you want to be with us? And she's like, no.
mm,
So that could be one child.
mm,
That is in the depression area. Other children have anxiety, and a lot of the clients that I have anxiety around school, going to school. So it's like some of them are like, okay, I really would like to go to school, and I'm getting up and put my clothes on, but the minute like they either go out of their door or come near the school,
mm,
everything's like, and they cry, and it becomes too much, and then they have to go home. So anxiety is also a part of it. Then there is the OCD, where you need to have different things you need to do, and well, I would put it this way: one characteristic things about all the children that I have is they have a lot of thoughts, a lot
mm,
of inner voices, a lot of disturbance inside, and difficulties in sleeping, and yeah, you see some, well, that's the severe cases that I have. I
mhm,
have
mm,
also, of course, have children who like, I feel a little stomach pain, or I'm not so good in, and I would like to be better. So I have the whole range.
mm,
Even children who, I remember one child who, he was 18, and when he came to me, his father was there as well. And he was like, is it okay? I'll just be on the other side of the road and have a cup of coffee, but I'll be near. So if there's anything, I can be here. And when he left, I asked, because the client was 18, I asked the client, so what was that about? Why is your dad so, yeah, what was that
mhm.
about? And then he said, oh yeah, 2 months ago, I tried to kill myself.
Ooh,
So
mm.
he's quite disturbed. He's afraid to move. So I also have these kind of clients.
Yes, yes. And then you mentioned something that I come to think about what I have noticed in traditional therapy. I think often they approach, they focus on the children or on the child only. But when a child suffers, there's always the family with the parents and siblings. But it's like, yeah, maybe I'm prejudiced, but I have experienced it myself, that they look at the child, they talk to the child, but they don't really consider what's going on in the family around the child. Is that something you can relate to, that you see as well? Or, and how do you work with this?
Uh, I don't know so much about how other people work,
Mm-hmm.
but I know how I work myself. I see a family as a
Yeah.
so if one finger is suffering, it affects everything. It affects the whole body, but it definitely affects everybody in the family. So
Mm.
everybody is a part of it. And also a small child, they are like this, very interconnected with their parents and their siblings as well.
Yes.
So you can never only look at the child. It would
Mm.
be like look at one finger as I know also in traditional medicine, if you have pain in your stomach, you only look at your stomach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in Chinese medicine, in more holistic approaches, you look like, okay, the stomach is speaking, is the one
Mm.
who's speaking. But then it could easily be something with the whole system that we need to address. And that's exactly the same with families. So the
Yes.
child may be the speaker of
Mm.
what's going on.
Mm.
Um, the one who's actually taking the suffering on him or her and feel the pain. But normally it is a dynamic also in the family. At least I will put it this way. I often say that I cannot treat a child, the child cannot become better than the average of the whole system.
Mm.
Um, so so if you have a mom and dad who is depressed and stressed and frustrated, then of course I cannot help a child to become okay, but I'm happy. No, that would never work. So when I work, it's the whole family who is in therapy in a way.
Mm.
Also because when you have a child who's suffering, you need to help the mom and dad to understand how they can help their child. It's so important. Also because when you come to me, either online session or in person, it could be like once a week if it's often.
Mm. Mm.
But just think about all the other days.
Yeah.
That child needs help now. And mom and dad and siblings are home now. Not siblings, they're normally out of the equation
Mm.
because they shouldn't take the responsibility of helping their siblings. But mom and dad needs to have the tools to understand what's going on with my child and to help their child.
Mm.
And a part of that helping their child is helping themselves.
Yes, I was
Um,
thinking that, yeah, sorry. I was thinking that we often say, or we often hear, that it takes a village to raise a child,
yes.
but it also takes the whole family to heal. In order to heal the child, the other wounds within the family, within the systems, perhaps the parents or one of the parents or both parents have wounds they have to heal. And I think often people are not aware of the wounds or the traumas they have. How do you deal with this when you sit in a situation, you have a child who is really have anxiety or depression or eating disorders or whatever it might be, and you realize, okay, but I can see that it is perhaps the mother or the father who has deep wounds, who are not healed, and they are not able to see. How do you? I think that must be really, really tricky to handle those situations. How do you do that?
Well, I'll tell you about one girl I had, which
Mm.
which is an example of it. So this was 2 years ago. It was in the holiday, the Christmas holiday. Um, it was the mother who called me or texted me and said, "We're desperate because our 7-year old girl won't wear any clothes, especially not pants."
Mhm.
He won't have where. And it's okay now that we have holiday, but what do we do first day of school? So they were pretty frustrated. And
Mhm.
little child, she got so angry and so frustrated and was screaming, and it was really tough for her to have any, especially pants. Okay, then they came up in my practice, and it was clear for me to see that the child was suffering. Also, she came in a big T-shirt uh,
Mhm.
with no pants on. I think she could have underpants, but not anything else. So it was a severe situation.
Mhm.
But it was so interesting because I asked the child about, she was only 7 years old. So I asked the child different questions about how is it in your home? Who is your dad and who is your mom? And then I think it was in the first session. She said, oh, my dad, he becomes so angry. He's so angry. He's the angriest father in the whole world. My mother also get a little bit angry, but she is more like, then she gets sad or frustrated when dad gets angry. And me, I'm just curious and I'm happy. And she was like, okay. And mom and
Wow.
the father and the mother were like, okay, that's interesting. And then I gently addressed that exactly
Mhm.
what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's the child who speaks up.
Mhm.
It I put it this way, it has never, never, never anything really to do with the child.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
is, especially when they're 7 to teenage years. When they get more out of their homes, like being around friends, other problems can come in. But otherwise, I don't think there's anything wrong with children. But there could be something wrong either in their environment or something that had happened in their lives.
Mhm.
So, so the whole therapy with that family was about the father to understand his anger.
Mhm.
And we addressed it like speaking about it. When does the anger come and how is it for you? And he realized I have a lot of trauma in my childhood. And I understand that he didn't knew how big an effect it had on his child
Mhm. Mhm.
and neither on his wife, actually. But through the therapy, and because he loved his child so much, he wanted to change.
How beautiful to see
Yeah.
that. I mean, often
Yes.
we cannot see our own trauma or our own
No.
the role we are playing. So how beautiful and how courageous of him.
How courageous of him, and also courageous of the mother, because
Yeah.
when a child is suffering, it's
Mhm.
also a beautiful opportunity for the parents to shed some of their old stories, to
Mm.
leave them and become who they are, become
Mm.
more powerful, gentle, happy. It is a wonderful opportunity for a whole family to change some of the belief systems, some of uh, the patterns in the family. So I'll put it, this girl, what we found out with this girl was that she was so afraid of peeing in her pants.
Mm.
So they was, but she had never peed in her pants. So what I did with her, I had her lying on my healing bed because then I can use my abilities to look into the life of the child or my client. And then I could see there was a situation where she had peed in the sofa.
Mm.
And then she remembered. And then I used the EMDR technique to, what you do in EMDR is you go directly into the trauma. It's almost like removing a splint, you know, if you have a
Mhm.
splint,
Yeah.
it's almost like a trauma. But when you want to remove the splint, it hurts a little bit more because you're like, oh, and you
Mm.
use the needle. That's the same with EMDR. You go into the trauma and it becomes a little bit worse, but then
Mm.
so with that girl, we went into the trauma. She had peed in the sofa, and her dad got so mad.
Mm.
That was the trauma. And she, and suddenly she took a deep breath and she walked down off the healing bed, went over to her dad
Mm.
and gave him a big hug.
Oh.
And he gave her a big hug. And it was such a beautiful moment because, and from that day on, it changed.
Mm.
It changed. That inner voice that made her so anxious about having trousers on, it became less and less and less. And when it came, the father knew how to handle it so he didn't get so frustrated. So the whole family was healed because of the child.
Mm. Yes, you are not really healing children only. You are healing families.
Yes, in a way I
Yes,
do. Yes.
yes, yes, yes. And
It's a little bit different with,
yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
with elder, not younger, but with elder children, then the
Mm.
family is not so involved. Of course, with
Mm.
small children, I need them to be very involved.
Mm. Mm. And then, if we talk about it, you mentioned if we call it like the psychic abilities or the mediumship you have. For how long have you known you have those abilities? Have you always known, or is it something you became aware of as an adult, or how?
I've always had the abilities,
Mm.
but in the beginning, I thought everybody was like me.
Yeah.
Then I found out,
That's what we do because the only reference we have. I mean,
yes, that's
how I
myself.
experience with the world, that must be
Yes,
how everyone else is experienced the world. Yeah.
yes, yes. And then I found out no one was like me.
Mm.
So when I spoke about, oh, can you see this or can you feel this? No.
Mm.
And I even remember, especially when I got older in high school and when I spoke about the experiences that I had, I remember my friends saying, no, no, just don't talk about it.
Mm.
It sounds too weird.
Mm.
So I have had all these abilities, but 7 years ago, I booked a course to England, to the Arthur Findlay College. And while I was walking towards, I took the bus from the airport, and when I walked from the bus to this Arthur Findlay College, I realized I didn't knew what was the course about. I booked a whole course for a week in England, and I didn't knew what it was about. So, but it changed everything for me because Arthur Findlay College is one of the finest places in the world for mediums to practice together and to develop their abilities and to sharpen them.
Mm.
So when I walked into the Arthur Findlay College, I realized, oh, everybody's like me. They have the same abilities. Now I can speak out loud about what I hear and feel and sense and know. So it was so beautiful for me.
Mhm.
And then I realized what I am is called a medium. I didn't know that. And a psychic.
Mm.
I didn't know those terminologies, perhaps because I live in Denmark, where we
Mm.
don't really speak about spirituality. It's coming more and more, but we don't speak out loud so much about spirituality and, yeah, mediumship. You know, a traditional medium is one who has the ability to speak to the ones who have passed to the other side.
Mm.
And yeah, so I've always had the abilities. I realized 7 years ago that it's called a medium. And then I have trained my abilities so they have become, yeah, it's like when you can play the piano, you can press the keys, but training, you become better and better at it.
Yes,
So
yes.
now I use it very much in my therapy because it gives me the ability to read the energy field around people
Mm.
where every information about their life is stored. So, so
Yeah.
it's easier for
Can
me.
you please explain how is that experience? Is it something you see visually, or is it something you feel, or how
I'll give you
how
an
do you
example,
read
Anna.
energy? Yeah.
I'll give you an example, Anna.
Hmm.
Um, uh, I visited you yesterday in Sweden.
Yeah.
And we sat at a cafe. Go back to that memory. Remember yesterday. Remember how the coffee tasted. Remember how the sound was in the room. And remember how you felt sitting there next to me speaking. Can you feel it in your body? Do you
Yeah.
remember part of it?
Yeah.
That's how I experience it.
Mm.
Sometimes I hear it out loud. Sometimes I see it with like visually. Sometimes like I have a physical pain in my body that shows me like, okay, you died of something. But most of the time, it's that subtle. It's like remembering something.
Yeah, so you actually kind of remember what the other person has been through
Yes,
without knowing their story
yes.
and what, yeah,
So
yeah.
what, so for example, I could read into your energetic field and well, every information is there, but you would be if you were my client, you would decide what we should talk about. And if you bring up a traumatic event you have had, I can sense it in your energetic field. And then it becomes almost visible for me. And I can almost feel it as well. So I can be part of your memory. And that's a big advantage because I can help you to remember how it was and to address the feelings that was involved. And you know, I think it's like this. If you experience something difficult, if you had your best friend or good support next to you, holding your hand while you were going through something difficult, it's easier.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm that person who holds your hand and help you to go through the trauma once again. Because when we do that in a gentle, peaceful way, the trauma almost dissolves. You see it with new eyes. Because in a trauma, you are often like you either go your reptile brain is totally active. You either fight, you flight, or you freeze. So you don't have access to your thinking brain. You cannot see the nuances of what's going on in the trauma. You're just there. So when the client, if you and I went through your trauma again, now in a different pace and with much more perspective, then you would have the ability to see it from different angles and then it releases. Also in EMDR, you work with what's called bilateral stimulation. And that is the EM stands for eye movement. So traditionally, the therapists do like this, and you do like this with your eyes. So that's the eye movement. But you can also tap, and you can hear. So what the bilateral stimulation does is to help the two brain parts to work better together. And because trauma is normally placed in the right side of the brain, I'm so left brained. People when they talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
I'm so left brained, that's because I like analytics, I like things to be done. So the left part of the brain is very good at that. So when you in EMDR combine the two brain parts, you dissolve the trauma. So yeah, so again, it's a combination of the traditional and the modern that I'm, and
I
it works.
think and I think for too many people this sounds really weird. And when I think about it and try to explain it in a more scientific way, is like the human consciousness is very narrow. I mean, we are just able to sense or pick up very little of the information that is available. You can compare yourself to a cat, for example, who can hear much more than you can. and you have like a bat, they experience the world completely different because they use a sonar system. Or you have an octopus who have, I don't know, they have many brains, so of
Tentacles,
course
yes.
they experience the world differently. So for me, this about the psychic abilities is more like you have like an expanded or a broader consciousness. The information is there available all the time. Some animals can pick it up, and some and some humans has the ability to pick it up. So for some reason, some people have a more a broader system to pick, a more sensitive, sensible, sensitive system to pick up information that is available. Because I think it's a pity, because I know a lot of people, or some people who hears this or listens to this will think, oh, this is completely weird. I have a child, my child is really suffering, but can I contact this woman? What she says is so weird. But no, but I just
Give
want
it a
people
chance.
to, yeah, give
Yeah,
it a chance, because it's so worth it. Because I know you have had so many, you have been able to help so many clients that have tried all the more. Um, it's hard. What do we mean by traditional? Is it traditional the way we did it 1,000 years ago, or is
yeah,
traditional the
yeah.
way we
That's
do it
interesting.
today? But okay,
Yes.
the modern way of doing it, that they tried everything and it doesn't work. So if I have a child suffering and I have tried everything and I come to you, what happens? What do you do?
First, we take the 30-minute free session online,
Mm.
so they can tell me about what's going on in their life and tell me about how their child is suffering. And also for them to know me a little bit more, and also for me to recognize some of the patterns with the child. Then it depends on if it's a small child, like 7, 6, and yeah, down to 3 years old actually, but also sometimes newborns. But that's another story. Um, then they have the first session just with the child and one parent, just for the child to, in my practice, I have teddy bears and things you can draw with, and yeah, playful things. So the child feel like, okay, it's a nice place. And we perhaps have a cup of tea and we talk and we draw a little bit, because of my abilities, I can sense the energy around the child, and also combine with what the parents have said. I get a pretty clear picture of what's going on just by the first session.
Mm.
Then I'll have a conversation with the parents alone, where we speak about what I have seen, and we make the plan for how to help that child. So younger children until 14, 12, 13, 14, I take them on a treasure hunt, as I call it. So the child comes on a treasure hunt with me, because when a child is coming to me, they're suffering.
Mm.
So I decided that the therapy at my place should be fun. It should be in child's eyesight. So I take them on a treasure hunt with 5 sessions, and
Mm.
at the fifth session, the treasure is. And at the first session, we draw what is your treasure. So for a child, it could be I want to sleep at night, or I want to have uh, calmness in my head, or I want to ride the bus alone, or whatever. It doesn't matter what they say, but that's what we're looking for. Because no pirate is going on a what is that, treasure hunt, without knowing what they're looking for.
Mm.
So by the child knowing what we're looking for, they are part of the process.
Mm.
So that's the 5 sessions, and normally it takes 5 sessions. And then I'm in contact with the parents during the treasure hunt.
Mm.
And at the fifth session, no, sometimes it takes a little bit more, but normally it's 5 sessions. And the fifth sessions, they make their own diploma. This is what I'm able to do now. this is how I did it, because I really would like to put the power back to the child instead of, it's, it's Nynne who did it. That I have the worst business strategy ever, which means that I want my clients to do on their own, like they don't need me.
Yeah.
So,
So
so
you
that's,
you help them pretty quickly. It's not like you come
yes,
to Nynne for years and
no,
years and years.
no.
Mm, 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 mm,
5 sessions, that's it. And with some of the severe cases, like, with the one I said, like try to kill themselves, or especially very depressed, it takes a little bit longer. But, the teenagers, depression and severe anxiety comes more like in teenage years and on. So it takes a little bit longer with them, but then they come alone and we do the EMDR therapy. But I would put it this way, 8 or 10 session the max.
I can hear you speak so lovingly about children, and with so much respect, and how you see see the child from the kind of the child's perspective. And I know that you have written a book, but you have not really decided whether to publish it. Would you like to
Yes.
say something about the theories or the model? Because I know you have like a perspective on children and how to understand why children behave like they do. Something I think could be really, really powerful and helpful for children, for parents to understand. If
Thank you, Anna, for mentioning it. Yes, it's a method, it's a model that I kind of downloaded. It suddenly was there, it came to me, and I call it the Happy Child Compass.
The happy
Uh,
child
you,
compass, beautiful.
yes,
Mm,
you use a compass to get into the direction that you want
mm,
to.
mhm,
So the Happy Child Compass, and find the way to more happy children and calm parents. That's the subtitles. So the Happy Child Compass is, I can explain it easily. There is a green area, a yellow area, and a red area. The green area, you're feeling well. There's
mm,
nothing wrong. The yellow area, like, I'm a little bit pressed or a little bit annoyed. And the red area, you are in the red area, in the red zone. So you are
mm,
very stressed and very alarmed. And then there is a cross in the middle, which gives us four different, you see, if the four
Yeah, like
different,
a matrix, or yeah,
four different, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And so what the model is based on, who do you become, or who do your child become when it gets in the red zone? Does it become angry? Does it become very frightened? Does it become very sad? Or does it become very quiet? And it's based on the three reaction patterns of the reptile brain: fight, flight, freeze, and
Mm,
then also fawn.
mm,
Fawn is the fourth trauma response. And fawning means that you're pleasing, that you're like trying to go underneath the trouble, and you're just, okay, could we or just all be friends?
mm,
So these four different ways of treating trauma, I have used animals to illustrate the different ways of being. So does your child become angry like the jaguar? You're the most stupid mom in the whole world. A lot of children goes
mm,
like this.
mm,
Or do you become frightened like the deer, who is like, "Ooh, no, 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 this is not good. We need to get things done. We need lists of things we can do, and everything should be in order." Does your child become sad as the dog? The
mm,
dog, and it's actually, I have a dog, a yellow Labrador, and it's inspired of her, because if I speak to her in a bad voice with her, she becomes like this. Oh, no, no,
mm,
no, sorry, and wave her tail. So she's phoning to
mm,
trauma. So
mm,
that's what the dog does. And the last one, the quiet children who withdraw themselves, are the giraffes,
mm.
because the giraffes don't say anything, actually, and they're
They
very
have
calm.
big, they have very big hearts.
Yeah. At least that's what we thought, but the
Mhm.
science has shown they don't have bigger hearts
They
than
don't.
other.
It's
No,
just
they
a
don't.
myth. Mhm.
But an interesting thing is that their nervous system
Mhm.
works a little bit slower than other animals.
Ah, that's
And it when I
interesting.
read that, it was spot on to the children that I know who withdraw
Mhm.
themselves. So the Happy Child Compass is a model for parents to understand their children.
Mm.
You wouldn't feed a jaguar with leaves,
Mm.
but you would feed a deer with leaves. Uh, and you wouldn't ask. So having this understanding of four different ways of being in the world, four different animals, parents can have a new language of understanding their child and know how they can help the child to, when they have gone into the red zone, come back into the green one.
Mm.
So that's
Mm.
what the book is about. And it's also about nervous system and a little bit of brain and to understand some of the underlying theories of the model.
Mm. Mm. Can you repeat the four animals again? It
Yeah.
was the jaguar.
Jaguar, fight. Fight is
Yeah.
jaguar.
Mm.
Um, flee is the deer. And flight is the deer. Yeah.
Mm.
And freeze is the giraffe. And fawn is the dog.
Mm. Mm.
So fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jaguar, deer, giraffe, and dog.
Mm, mm. And since the book is not out yet, if someone is interested in this model, is there somewhere you can read about it, or do you have some
Actually,
resources? Uh-huh.
I'm actually running right now. I'm running an online course, How to Understand Your Angry Child. It's in
Ah,
Danish though.
mm,
We just started, but in that online course, because the angry children, the jaguar children, there is so much struggle around them. There is also struggle around the other children, but the angry children, especially in schools and kindergarten, and in our society, it's not so accepted being very, very angry.
mm, mm, mm,
So that's why I chose to make a course for them. But people, if they want to join, they can join because everything is recorded. And yeah, but I haven't really, well, a little bit on Instagram on my Instagram. It's called familycoaching.dk, but also my name was Nynne Bojsen.
mm, mm.
But I
I
must
will,
say some
yeah.
more.
Yeah,
I
but
must say it's a lot.
I will put links below the recording and in the podcast so people can find you on
Yes.
your website and on your Instagram. And since you mentioned that the angry child is something that really it gets noticed, and it is something that causes problem both for the child and for example in school, and also I guess within the family system. Could you just say something about a strategy? You said you should not feed the jaguar leaves, but what should you feed the jaguar child?
A Jaguar child is a very powerful child. They have their own opinion and they don't want to do everything that mom and dad says. They want to decide themselves, so they're very powerful.
Mm,
And so you can easily get into a conflict with them, an argument, and they're like, "No, not gonna happen." They're so strong. So what can happen with one strategy is very, very important is that you as an adult become an even bigger jaguar.
mm,
A jaguar mom lying there on the savannah and don't even notice that her cub is like biting a little bit in her ear or scratching her tail because she knows she has the power to, when time comes, now calm.
mm,
So one thing is to understand to become the queen and the king, the big jaguar, the big calm jaguar, who helps the little jaguar to know your anger is not a problem, but you need to put it down a little bit. So you see, I also speak with a different voice, a little bit more calm voice, because with children, because with the Jaguar child, when you get frustrated as a parent yourself, now you have to listen. I've said it to you so many times. Now go up to your room or put that clothes on. Then it's heart against heart, and there's no winner in these situations. So one strategy is definitely to understand when the anger is there. There is no such thing as understanding explanations, or the child is in the red zone when it gets very angry. So you need to be in the green zone and show the light for your child to come back. That's
And
the
don't
most.
be triggered. And don't be triggered
Don't
yourself.
trigger yourself. Don't be triggered yourself. Be the calm person, so your child has someone to lean up against. Also, because your nervous system is just, when you had a child and was in the prom, they don't have the capacity to calm themselves. They need another calm nervous system to lean upon.
Yeah.
So you need to be the big, very calm Jaguar.
And you, Nynne, you are a mother yourself. You have 3 boys. And someone told me once, who had 3 boys herself, she said there is a special place in heaven for the boy moms. Uh,
Because of the struggle you're going through.
I have 2 boys and a girl, so I think I can say I know the difference. But how has being a mom? We don't have to say whether they are boys or girls, but how has being a mom influenced your work as a therapist?
Tremendously, tremendously. I'll put it this way: when I got pregnant with my eldest son, he turns 28
Ooh.
this October.
I thought we were at 28. Like,
Yes, he turns 28 this October. Well, when I got pregnant with him, it was like my whole world shifted. Before I was pregnant with him, I thought about, no, I work in the advertising business and I want to be a businesswoman, blah, blah, blah. But having this child in my arms, understanding now I am responsible for helping this soul, with my ability. So I felt his soul is very old, but his body was so new. And I knew that I needed to take care of him to so he could have the best life. So I know that my first child was a big inspiration for both understanding children from a bigger perspective, that they're sometimes very, very old souls, but in new human bodies. So we need to take care of them so they can grow up and do what they're supposed to do here on earth. So that has been enormous. Then my second child, so Vilas, my first child, really showed me and introduced me to also a lot of feelings and more sensitivity around children. My second boy, he has helped me to understand the Jaguar child,
oh,
because he is a Jaguar child. And the funny thing was, I realized I'm a Jaguar tree.
I
So
can imagine, you know.
so my second child and I, we have had a lot of, now he's 24. And of course, we love each other because we are very close, but it's with him I have had the biggest struggle. But he showed me how it is to be a Jaguar child, and he inspired me to that. And he has helped me, for me to stand in my power. When I asked him, Andreas, would you please help me about this? No, no, I don't want to help you. And I was always helping. So in a way, he taught me that sometimes it's okay to say, no, I cannot help you. I'm in the middle of something. So I'm very pleased of that. And my third son, Sander, who's 15, he becomes more of a giraffe. So I have a dog and a jaguar and a giraffe. So with him, he when I was speaking a little bit harsh, because as a Jaguar, sometimes I can have a tough voice, he just said, "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry." Oh, and then I realized, oh, I've been speaking again with that horrible, harsh voice. So he really has helped me to fine tune my way of being in the world and understanding that some children needs also as a therapist a totally different uh, pace. You cannot, as a Jaguar, think that everybody is a Jaguar. No, they're not, and they get pretty frightened of you. So you need to adjust as a therapist and as a person who helps other people to adjust into how other people are. So he really taught me about the giraffes. So I'll put it this way: I see the family as the jungle where it's definitely the most difficult place to be, because you can have it's also difficult to be in a working life, but there you won't get disturbed when you're speaking, when you talk in the phone, and there are certain rules, and you can close the door and nobody would disturb you. Back in the family, I think it's the jungle, but also the most interesting place to be, because it's such a mix of feelings, of trauma, of and also the place where there is the most love and compassion and security. Security is also there, even though there can be a lot of insecurity. So for me, having a family and understanding how I could get the best family for my children has been my whole life. That's also why I got divorced last year. And the worst thing about getting divorced after 27 years with their father was now I'm hurting the people that I was supposed to take care of, hurting my children. But I'll put it this way, I know that their dad and we signed a contract before we came into this life. We have agreed to have a family together, and we are still deeply connected. But the way we were together when we were living in that house, that didn't work. So we need to go out of the conflict to ease down, and let's see what's going to happen in the future. Perhaps we will stay separated, or perhaps they would. At least I know I'm with him for the rest of my life, because we have the children together, and he is the same as I. We want the best for our children, but we couldn't work it out while we were together.
And how did it? I know you have been through a lot, because when we got to know each other, you were still married, but we have those conversations about what was going on in your marriage. And since I was divorced now 7 years ago, and the experiences I have from that. And I know for you, being this person, being this therapist, working with families, it was like a identity crisis in a way for you to look upon yourself. I
100%.
didn't, yeah. Can you tell us something about that? Because I think a lot of parents go through this.
I think that when you have children with a man, and you kind of start on this journey of being a family, it is a tremendous grief to not to be able to fulfill that project. So for me, it definitely was a identity and my biggest life crisis ever. Because there are so many people involved. It's not only me. I have had, a lot of like physical illnesses, and I've been in hospitals, but that's just me. And a divorce, so many children, so many people are involved in it. So it was a big identity crisis to give up, give give up. I couldn't heal it. I couldn't be in the marriage anymore, and he couldn't either. So we need to. That was. So there is both this to realize and say goodbye to the trauma and the belief that I couldn't handle the project. I couldn't finalize it. I couldn't, end it. I couldn't do it. That was one thing that I need to. I did the best that I could, and now I need a new space. And actually, from a different perspective, we were tearing each other apart. Perhaps not so much our children, but we need to thrive as well. So that was one thing. Another thing was definitely, so one thing was I couldn't finish it. One thing was also interesting enough. I could see that um, my previous husband wasn't always well. I think he was sometimes very angry and tired, and we haven't talked so much about it, but earthbound spirits, as I call it, where you have something, some energies affecting your system. I think that's, now I'm saying it out loud. I think that's a part of why we couldn't be together, because there was also this dimension in it. And I think, not just to mention my ex-husband, I think almost every person has energies that affects them, headaches, things like that. So it was also a grief for me that I couldn't heal us. I
But
couldn't
can
heal
you,
our relationship.
yeah, but can you see it? Because when you tell me about it, I know it's still pretty, it's not that long time ago it happened for you, but now can you see it as maybe you did finalize the project? You did have an assignment here
Yes.
on earth with this man and those souls and with your children, and now actually have finished the project, not from a human perspective but from a soul's
From a
perspective.
soul perspective, definitely. Also because I know when I wake up in the morning, I feel better.
Mm,
And that's the biggest sign. I feel better. I'm in my own apartment. I have my own energy and I feel better, which is a pretty big sign that it was the right decision. So you're absolutely right. There is the human perspective and the soul perspective. And we cannot play house. I think it's called in English, play house, mom and dad and children. We don't play that anymore, but we do it in a different way. Uh, where there is a time for, yeah, for other things. Still a family, but in a different way. And that, I think you're absolutely right. But when you're going through a crisis, I could feel the two different aspects of me, the human who was sad and also angry and frustrated, and the soul who was like, yeah, we never tried that before, getting a divorce. Okay, that's a new thing. Now we'll have a new story we will try to. So
yeah, yeah,
so both of them are there.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, and now it's 1.5 years ago that I
Mm,
moved into this apartment, and now things are settled. We can
mm,
easily speak to each other, and I'm deeply grateful for what we had and also for what you taught me.
mm.
You know, you learn through trouble.
Yeah, we do. They are like
You learn
teachers
through
to
trouble.
us. Yeah,
Yes.
and we grow. And maybe I get a bit too personal now, Nynne, but we promised we should be vulnerable and really talk about the essence of
Yeah.
things in this conversation. When I listen to you, and we have talked so many times before, I hear you are very much into how you can be there for other people, look after other people, being sensitive to other people's challenges and traumas and issues. How do you look after Nynne? What do you do in order to look after Nynne?
That's a stupid question, Anna.
Okay.
This way I have become better. I've become better. Well, living in my own apartment with my colors and my things and my energy is looking after Nunu.
Mm,
Because looking after Nunu is also walking in the forest with my dog. And a picture could be like all my antennas that I normally use to help other people, I center them about myself.
Mm.
So walking in the forest, um, doing also training my body, eating healthy, cultivating my chi. I know you do
Mm.
qigong,
Mm.
um, and cleansing my chakras. And so I do a lot for myself. Also because the work that I do, I need to be very centered.
Mm.
I need to be the big jaguar or the big deer or the big dog or giraffe when I
Mm.
have
Mm.
clients. So that I do. And also I think I choose who I want to see and be with. And that's an important thing too, because earlier in my life, I might have friends and situation that I thought I needed to be in. I don't do that anymore.
Mm. Mm.
Care of myself. I am so sensitive to energy, and now that I think a lot of people are sensitive to energy. Actually, I think you are very sensitive to
Yeah.
energy too, and the difference is just that I learned how to understand it and to
Mm.
use it as a tool.
Yeah,
That
to consciously use it. I
yes,
mean, yeah, as a
exactly,
tool. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I choose who I want to be with. I choose what kind of clients I want to work with. So I'm very aware of what should my life continue, what kind of things should I put into my life.
Mm. Mm.
So I'm lucky that I can choose that I don't have a job that I need to go to. So that's looking after me.
Mm.
Really
Mm.
being
Mm.
aware of what's doing me good and what's doing me not so good, and
Mm.
sort these things out. That's not doing me so good.
Yeah, and this is also something that is benefiting the world and the people around you. I mean, when you are in your energy and when you are centered and when you are grounded and when you feel at home with yourself, then you also have more to give and uh,
You
share
know,
with us.
everything is interconnected. We know
Yeah,
that now with quantum physics. Everything is interconnected. So when you take care of you,
yeah,
you're making the world a better place because you radiate with another calm energy that can help a person going just beside you can kind of feel that energy and perhaps take an extra deep breath and become more centered into themselves.
mm, mm. I think that is such a beautiful reminder that we are all connected. And when we think about it in that way, the things we talked about before about the spirituality and being psychic, then it's not something strange. It's something, I mean, we are connected. There is something bigger than us. And sometimes we are able to tap into that and then we can really feel it. And I think for me, in a way, this podcast, the purpose of this podcast is to help people see how interconnected we are and that there is this pure essence in each and every one of us, and this pure essence is actually part of the bigger whole, and that we can become more whole as human beings when we are able to see and sense that we are all interconnected.
I think my picture is, and I totally agree with what you're saying. I think that a picture could be that a soul is like a hand, and
Mm,
when it's born into earth, it's like a hand in a glove.
yeah.
So the glove is your physical body, but
Mm,
your hand is the soul. So the physical body can be afraid of, oh, I'm dying, or I'm left out, or I'm hungry, or blah blah. Things will never work out. But the soul knows better. So
yeah.
I feel that the big suffering in the world is that people are disconnected from their souls.
Yeah.
They get to think because they've been on earth for so long, they get to think that they are the glove.
Mm, mm.
They
Most
they
people believe they are the glove.
The glove, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's why they're suffering. But once they get reconnected with the soul,
Mm,
uh, the healing starts from within,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's also why it's so important with seeing and understanding children because children has so thin gloves.
Yeah,
They're
they
more
come into
solid.
the world without gloves, actually. So if
Yes,
we just
yes,
take care of them, they could be
yes.
more aware, and they can teach us so much about life and why we are here and how we can just kind of savor life and let life come to us instead of this struggle. And we have these, our nervous systems, they are like, they are so tense, and we are not able to sense what's going on around us. Around
I
us.
think actually, Anna, to also to perhaps finish where we started. I don't know if we finished yet, but
Yeah,
I
but I
just
think we
wanted to.
very should soon.
Yes,
But
yes,
we,
yes. But
we
to
could
finish
go
where we
on the whole
started
afternoon.
with
Mm,
the way that we met each other.
yeah,
I think I dare to write in an online group in English that I'm a Danish witch,
yeah,
and you dare to say that you were Swedish witch,
yeah. But that's
and that's why
even
we met.
weirder.
Yes, but that's how we met. Yes, but you
Yeah, yeah,
see,
yeah,
we
yeah,
dared to show a part of us which was perhaps hidden and a little bit frightening to
yeah,
say out loud, but we dared to shine our light to show who we are, and then we met.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And I think that could be when people dare to be who they are, to
yeah,
say out loud, "This is who I am. This is what I believe in. This is what I like." Then they have the chance to meet the same people as themselves, and that's what we need. We need to be together with people like ourselves.
yes.
So
Yes, I have thought about that a lot since we've met now again about this witch thing. What I really meant about that, and what does that mean to me? And I think it is this, that I always had this feeling of having a connection, that I'm part of something bigger, that I have information available to me that is not my information. I have intelligence available that is not my intelligence, but I'm not always connected to it, but I can tap into it. And I think, or I like to think, that everybody has that ability. Uh,
everybody has.
yeah, yeah,
Everybody is a hand in a
yes,
glove.
yes, yes.
Everybody.
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
of us just are born with thinner gloves than the other people.
Yeah, or we keep remembering who we
Mm,
are.
mm, yeah,
The worst thing is to forget who you are,
yeah,
and to forget to be in contact with your essence.
yes, yes. Well, I think that is a beautiful, full way to end our conversation today, Nynne. I have so many more things I would like to
We could go
talk.
on and on and on, and
Yeah, we
there
could
is
go
so
on
much
for
to talk. Yeah.
forever. But I usually ask my guests if there is
Oh yeah.
something they are looking for right now in their business or in their life. Are you looking for investors? Are you looking for new clients? Are you looking for perhaps partners to cooperate with? Are you want, yeah, new life partner perhaps? No.
No, no, thank you. Not now.
She's so beautiful, my friend Nina, the
Oh,
most
thank you.
beautiful woman on earth.
Well, um, uh, I look for the right clients.
Mm,
If people hear what I've been speaking about here, and if they have a child who's suffering and they tried a lot of things, I would like to get in contact with them. I also would like, I have done it before in the Netherlands actually, to teach other therapists of the
mhm.
modalities that I work with. That could also be interesting. And always speaking opportunities like today. It's that really inspires me to. I think that's also part of why I'm here on earth, not just to heal, but
Mm,
also to speak about how healing modalities can be understood and how we can look at our world in a broader perspective so
yeah.
we can understand human suffering, especially for our children, and help them.
Yes, yes. So if you have a podcast or other speaking opportunities, listen now and get in contact with Nynne, and you have such a broad, we haven't even touched upon, you are also an artist, a singer and a composer, and you do some of that as well. But I'm afraid I don't think we have time to
No,
go
no, no.
into that today. That will be for another time. So last but not least, where can people find you if they want to contact you?
They can find me on nynnebojsen.com. which is my English website. And for Danish people, also from outside, but it is my website is in Danish. It's called familiecoaching.dk, so familycoaching.dk in Danish. So
Yes.
these are the two main. But I'm also on TikTok and on on Instagram, on Facebook. Yeah, I like to. I have so much that I would like to speak about and tell the world about how we can understand each other and ourselves and how we can heal. So that's why I'm trying to spread that word out on many platforms.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Nynne, for being my guest here on my
Thank
podcast
you,
today.
Anna, for asking me.
Yeah, it has been such a beautiful conversation. I think there are so many more things, as you say, that we could talk about, and I hope the world listens, and the ones who needs to hear it and wants to hear it and are ready to hear it, that they are listening. So thank you so much, Nynne, and thank you whoever has been listening today live, or if you listen when this broadcast is on the platform, on the podcast platforms. And I will very soon be back with, let's say, a completely different guest.
Oh,
So until then, see you and bye. And we send you so much love and light.